Okay, good morning, everyone. So welcome to Ben-Gurion University of the Negev. On behalf of the Jack Laub Center for the History and Philosophy of the Life Sciences, again, I would like to welcome you all. And I would like to thank both Ute for organizing the symposium. This is only one event out of many events that she has been organizing for us at PGU as part of the activity of the center. And each such event is actually a diamond, at least in my opinion. So thank you, Ute, and thank you, Sophie, for the effort that you had to invest in organizing this event. So the symposium is about perils for science in democracies and authoritarian countries. And I would like first to invite Professor Zarivach, the chair of the Life Sciences Department, to say a few words.
Thank you, Ofer. So I made the short opening remarks, which I hope it will be okay. So first, I'm happy to support this meeting on the name of the Department of Life Sciences, which we are very happy for such event. This symposium is very important, and I would like to thank Professor Deichmann for arranging this, and again to Sophie and all the rest, and obviously for you for coming. This is very important, and I'm happy you are here in Ben-Gurion. On a personal note, on the topic of this meeting, I would like to just put my personal opinion. I see the issues recently taking place in Israel and in Ben-Gurion University. It seems that in the name of support of equality and minorities, we do see changes that affecting our opinion about science and about what it's meant to be excellence in science. I just want to give one example, which I took it as a small example from the university. Recently, the Senate decided, for example, that females that are a part of committees in the university, they do not need to have the rank of full professor anymore. Which that's, in my opinion, raising the question, one, is that means that the importance of being a full professor from the beginning was part of this issue, so which reflect the advances in science because you get to this rank, or is it just that we waive it in such an easy way if that's not going to harm the people that we're trying to promote? Will that help females? Will that, now that they do the work anyway in the committees, will that now anyone will try to promote them? And that's already raising many, many different avenues. And then there is another question of what it means. So it's only females? What about LGBTQ plus? Sorry if I forgot several. What about the other minority, religious? Where we put the stop for these kind of things? So I will leave it as a question because I do not think we all have the right answers. The problem that I see is that we all going toward this direction, and that's frightened me as a scientist. I feel that as scientists, we should look, I know it's hard because it's a world of people, but we should try and look on the results, on the advances, and less on the person who actually made them. And with that, sorry, I took a little bit longer from you. I'm sure that that will be a very interesting meeting, and will be the create a connection between excellence and the reduction of excellence by politics and other things. Thank you.
Thank you, Az. And now we'd like to invite Professor Ute Deichmann, the head of the Jack Laub Center for the History and Philosophy of the Life Sciences, to say a few words. Welcome, Ute.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ras. I am grateful for this introduction. And usually Ras speaks for 2 minutes. And so I thought I have more time for my introduction. So we will start a little later, but I think we have enough coffee breaks to cope with that. Yeah, no, I want to also thank Offer for taking over. Ras is the chairman of biology. Offer is the previous chairman of biology. So we are here in very good hands. So also on behalf of the Loeb Center, I would like to welcome you to our special symposium. And I'm very, very glad that renowned speakers from France, the United States, Germany, and Israel have accepted our invitation. And I'm especially grateful to you, Ahmad. Where is he? Here. To have accepted the invitation because of his recent book, Generation Allah, Why We Have to Rethink Our Fight Against Religious Extremism. Ahmad needs police protection in Germany, where he lives. And we have also taken care of this here. So we want to talk about dangers for science that affect our countries in very different ways. Though the philosophies and policies differ, what is underlying all the lectures today is the concern that the pursuit of scientific truth and success is under threat. Some words of clarifications beforehand. What we call dangers for science is widely praised as a tool to bring about more justice for underprivileged minorities and women. It is related to personal identities of race and gender and operates under the labels decolonizing science or diversity, equity, and inclusion. But diversity certainly is not a value in itself, as the successful women's colleges in the United States show and many other institutions. What matters is helping disadvantaged minorities get a better education. I support, therefore, the effort of this university to increase the number of underrepresented minorities through special educational programs that are based on merit. And certainly everybody here endorses the principle of equality of opportunity, irrespective of personal attributes. But I think, to quote Percy Dave, who is here, and Sergio Kleinerman, that the initially beneficial, that the initially beneficial effort of diversity and equality has over time transformed into a bureaucratic machine whose goal has gone well beyond fighting discrimination. The new goal is to eliminate disparities in representation by any means possible. This symposium, as I see it, addresses 2 major issues. One, the suppression of free speech and an open discussion in academia, and second, the devastating effect of the new identity and race policy on the scientific merit system, the levels of scientific performance, and the notion of scientific truth. One of the central concerns of the advocates of the new identity policy is the decolonialization of science and the humanities. And for example, in the United States, I understand mathematics has been labeled as Eurocentric, racist, and supremacist, and reforms are taking place that lower the level of the education. I cannot help but think here about the creation of the German physics or Aryan physics in Germany in the 1920s, before the Nazis came to power. The originators advocated a ban on the theoretical part of physics that was too complicated for many, and that they later, during the Nazi era, called Jewish physics. During the Nazi era, the movement succeeded in abolishing some chairs of theoretical physics, but after a few years, Nazi leaders reinstalled theoretical physics because they realized that they could not win a war without it. The notion of decolonial scholarship has been dissected by Andreas Bigfalvi, who is here, and other scholars in a recent debate in France. They wrote, decolonial scholarship is a deconstructionist device used to attack every accomplishment of Western society in literature, art, music, and even science. It claims that racism is systemic at every level of society, a notion which we completely reject, and I cannot but completely agree. In a recent lecture on identity policy, the PEN president, Ayat Akhtar, emphasized the danger of this policy for all intellectual enterprises. In the United States, he says, prohibitions of discourse determine not only publishing houses in Hollywood, but they permeate, as many of you know, of course, the whole educational system. He pointed to the paradoxon that on the one hand, due to the social media, never has there been so much speech, so much opinion freely expressed as there is today. But on the other, that there is a discourse full of punitive prohibitions and the fear to speak freely, as well as intolerance towards opinions that are considered unacceptable. Henry Gates, an Afro-American literary critic and professor at Harvard University, complained also recently about an intellectual tribalism and the focus on race and identity for the legitimation of an author. He considers this tribalism a sellout of human fantasy. An example is that the first comprehensive biography of Medgar Evers, one of the leading protagonists of the American civil rights movements of the 1960s, written by a leading expert, Evers expert, does not find a publisher because Evers is black and the author white. This kind of tribalist thinking can lead to absurd conclusions. So if we really think it to the end, African Americans should not be permitted to study science because this should be considered an inappropriate appropriation of European culture. Science is an invention of Europe. The best violinist in our chamber music performance course at this university is an Arab student from Haifa. Should he not permitted to play Bach, Mozart, or Beethoven? With all this absurdity, we should not forget that the activists, often students, could not endanger science and culture in general if leading institutions such as the journals Science and Nature, grant agencies, and university senates did not yield to their pressure or act in anticipatory obedience, partly guided by their guilt feelings. The debate of freedom of speech inside and outside of classrooms is not new. I conclude with a statement by the German sociologist Max Weber. Weber is best known for his strong advocacy of the separation of science and values in research. But Weber also considered it necessary that cultural and ethical values be included in teaching. He wrote, "The contention that the university teacher should be entirely devoid of passion and that he should avoid all subjects which threaten to arouse overheated controversies constitutes a narrow-minded bureaucratic opinion which every independent teacher must reject." So my thanks here for this event go first to Sebastian Kotzuch and the chemistry department who organized for us this beautiful hall. I thank Michael Schaffermann, standing there, our research assistant and almost PhD, Desiree Meloul, our administrative assistant, she's, I think, outside, and Shir Weizmann for their formidable work in the preparation and implementation of the symposium. I particularly thank Dr. Sophie Kohler, research fellow and administrator of the center, for her great effort under difficult circumstances to make this symposium happen. I thank you, everybody of you, and wish you a good day.